Uh, hello everybody. Hello everybody. It's your favorite YouTuber. It's your favorite YouTuber. Um, it's your favorite YouTuber, the only YouTuber whose opinion actually matters. Whether or whether or not you subscribe or um rate my video or like my videos. Okay, well, I don't give a shit because I'm not an attention whore. I just post my videos and I get shit on and popping. So, if you watch my videos, if you do watch my videos, if you've been following me on social media, and you are a diehard fan of mine, well, congratulations. You're a wonderful individual. For those of you who I'm not who wouldn't watch my videos? Well, if you're not a diehard fan of Bishop de la Papa, if you're not a fan of Venerable Supreme Pontiff Onze Paul I, Le République Francois, well then go fuck yourself. Damn. Like, for real. Okay. Well, every house I used to live at, the landlord would call my supposed landlord would call their older brother, boot down my door, and run up in my living room and point a loaded shotgun at my head. Okay. That alone is gonna start World War III. For real. That alone right there is most assuredly gonna start World War III. Wow. Cause, huh. So, supposed landlord calls their older brother, boots down my front door, and points a loaded shotgun at my head, and shouting death threats. Yo, Mr. Poisson, get the fuck off your property, or your landlord is gonna murder you in cold blood. And if that wasn't bad enough, the Peel Police got involved. So here is my landlord. Here is my landlord standing or illegally trespassing on my private property, holding a loaded shotgun to my head. And if that wasn't bad enough, local law enforcement is illegally trespassing in my house with a loaded shotgun pointed at my head. So here's the Peel New York Police Department. Here's the supposed landlord and his older brother illegally trespassing on my property, accompanied by local law enforcement. And before you know, I got, what is it? I got 152 rotten pieces of shit illegally trespassing on my private property, all holding loaded shotguns to my head. They had no search warrant. Had no probable cause to be, had no probable cause to be on my private property that day. These rotten pieces of shit bolted down my front door and held a loaded shotgun to my head. Mr. Poisson, you need to get the fuck off our property. Mr. Poisson, you need to get the fuck off our property. And I looked at him, and I was scared shitless. And I'm like, all right. Just don't shoot me, Chief. All right. I got up out of there, and I turned tail, and I fucking ran up out of there. Scared shitless. And I ran up out of there so fast, I nearly fucking fell down the stairs and broke my neck. And then I staggered to my feet and I run up out of there, and he's like, hey, good. That asshole is gone. Now we can get pussy from his wife that he just invited to his private property. Really? So that's what all that was about. That's what that was about. That's what that was about. Okay. Every residence I used to live at the landlord would call up their older brother. Oh, wow. Huh. Okay. Yeah, that's definitely gonna start World War III right there, asshole. You, okay. Well, you boot down God's front door. You boot down God's front door. You and your older brother boot down God's front door, accompanied by local law enforcement, pointing loaded shotguns at God's head, shouting death threats at God, because you're all jealous that God is getting vagina from gorgeous women every night. Let alone the fact, that is a capital offense, regardless if you're a police officer of local law enforcement. Every house I used to live at, landlord would call their older brother, boot down my front door accompanied by local law enforcement, and point loaded shotguns at my head while shouting death threats at me, because, oh, and you know, this is blasphemy right here. This is high treason. This is the textbook example of high treason. This is the textbook example of blasphemy. The landlord calls up their older brother, boots down my front door, accompanied by a local police department, did not have a search warrant, did not have probable cause, blatantly refused blatantly refused blatantly refused to disclose probable cause. And then, you know, my landlord and his older brother calls up local law enforcement, boots down my front door, kicks open my front door 3 hours later. Before you know it, I got 200 rotten pieces of shit holding a loaded shotgun to my head while shouting death threats at me, barking orders. Mr. Poisson, get the fuck off our property, or we will murder you in cold blood. Mr. Poisson, get the fuck away from your wives, so local law enforcement can get pussy from your baby mamas. What? Oh, yeah. Well, that will get someone sent to death row. That's gonna get local law enforcement sent to death row. Most assuredly. That's gonna get local law enforcement sent to death row. It's gonna get law enforcement sentenced to death row. Alright. So my landlord calls his older brother. My landlord calls their older brother. For a police escort to my private property. And before you know it, I got my landlord and his older brother, accompanied by DePue, New York Police Department, kicking open my front door and running up into my house and illegally trespassing on my private property, running up into my living room and pointing fully loaded shotguns to my head, while shouting death threats at me, barking orders. Mr. Poisson, get the fuck off our property now, asshole. And I turn around and I put my hands in the air. I'm like, okay, officer. Okay, please don't shoot. Please do not shoot. I don't want to die, officer. I do not want to die. And then Lieutenant Pick, all you see is Lieutenant Pick in the background, somewhere in the background. Officer Pick looks at me with a rubber band tied around his arm. Noticeable spider veins. And a syringe in his mouth. Spits out the syringe and says, then get the fuck off our property, you asshole. So we can get pussy from your baby mama. And at that point, I had a decision. Play hero, fight for my rights, stand up for my baby mama, or get murdered in cold blood and die in vain. And have DePue, New York Police Department rape my baby mama over my cold, dead body. So I did the smart thing. I ran up out of there. Afraid for my life. And I did not look back. And my poor baby mama is getting raped every night by 200 rotten pieces of shit. So here's my baby mama, 6 to 8 months pregnant with my child. And all of a sudden, DePue, New York Police Department boots down my front door, pointing loaded shotguns to my head. Mr. Poisson, get the fuck off our property before we murder you in cold blood. And here's DePue, New York, the police department. Here's DePue, New York Police Department barking death threats at me, ordering me to get the fuck away from my baby mama, or else DePue, New York Police Department is gonna murder me in cold blood. So then, okay, well, since you go and put it that way, what is a motherfucker to do? Here I have 200 rotten pieces of shit dressed in blue suits, just booted down my front door, and are now all pointing loaded shotguns to my head, barking death threats at me. Ordering me get the fuck off my private property and get the fuck away from my baby mama, or else the DePue, New York Police Department is gonna murder me in cold blood. And that is gonna start World War III. And that is exactly what World War III is about. Actually, World War III. World War III. World War III. World War III, the last and final war. Multiple wars going on at one time. Okay, well, it's, okay, well,